So, someone just stole my boyfriend. And by the way, I'm one of the most successful wedding planners in my city. So guess what? They came back to me after they stole my boyfriend a few months later and asked me to plan their wedding. Well, you know what? Sure, I'll plan it. Life puts you in the worst case scenarios when you least expect it. Well, that's what happened to me when I found out that my stepmom apparently just stole my boyfriend. I lost my mind when I saw that woman kissing my boyfriend a few weeks back. I didn't think twice. I went and yanked her head back. I threw her across the room and she landed on the couch. Well, I then grabbed the platter of sushi that was on his desk and threw it at him. He smelled like sushi for the rest of the day. She, on the other hand, was laughing her butt off, and she told me that she actually set me up so that I would catch them. Yeah, that's right. Well, she wanted me to. So, she tried leaving hints, but I just went ahead to trust my boyfriend way too much. So, the only thing left to do was for me to catch my boyfriend in the act. I was boiling on the inside, and I was also very hurt. But I did not show it on the outside. I would never give her the satisfaction of knowing that she hurt me that deeply. She could see my anger, and I did not mind it. But when it came to my sadness and hurt, she would not see any of it. I looked at my boyfriend and told him to explain. Well, that cocky player just smiled and said the cat was out of the bag. Then I asked him how he could do this to me, and he told me that he could, and besides, she was less whiny than me. He then went on to tell me that intimacy with her was much better than with me. So the gist of it was that he preferred her over me. I told them that they deserved each other and it would hurt each other. They were both toxic and narcissistic, and the fact that I still had them in my life proved that I didn't love myself enough. My boyfriend's been putting me through hell for years, yet I stayed. My stepmother has been horrible when my father was still alive. He left my trust in her name, and since I've not gotten married yet, I can't access it. I was waiting to turn 30 so it would go into my name. Woe is me for expecting Jeremy to propose to me. My friends told me to leave him a long time ago. They told me he didn't love me and was not loyal, but I believed that he could change for me. You see, he was just a tortured soul and was soft on the inside. It turns out I was wrong. I mean, come on, he was a piece of garbage. As for my stepmother, this was on brand for her. My father's been barely dead for 8 months, and she's already hopping into bed with the nearest guy. You best believe I gave her my peace of mind, and after that I left and went to the apartment that I shared with him. The lease was in my name since I was paying the rent most of the time. He was broke and always losing his gigs, and he was always telling me that the next good gig would come and he would hit it big. Well, I stupidly believed him, but slowly I started to realize that the big break was never going to come. I packed all his clothing and put them in a garbage bag. I then left them outside the bin room, knowing fully well that the bins were being taken the next day. I texted him to make sure to be there before 5 a.m. Otherwise, his clothing was going to be disposed of, and I switched off my phone. Went to my friend's apartment and we opened a bottle of wine. We actually celebrated the fact that the leech was out of my life. He was now my stepmother's problem, and you know the greatest part? She had no idea how bad he was. He always acted like a good boyfriend in front of my parents, and they thought that he was responsible, good-looking, and kind. I saw the way that she looked at him the very first time that she saw him, but I knew that she would never cross that line. I guess now that my father was out of the way, there was nothing stopping her. The next couple of days passed by in a haze, and the emotions that I've been keeping in began to pour out. As soon as I got home, I threw myself into bed and I cried. I just could not believe that those two people would do this to me. So, soon enough, I stopped crying and I decided to move on with my life. I now had more time to dedicate to my business. This breakup actually came at a good time for me, and I was not making enough money to keep my business open and to pay my bills. But once my team was freed up, I was now able to take on more clients. As much as I loved life, it sucked. My love life was garbage. I thought I would finally get my professional life back on track, but I guess that won't be happening anytime soon. So, just yesterday, I found out that my assistant had approved a client without my consent. First of all, I signed the documents without knowing who this client was, and I was so busy that sometimes I sent her to do the consultations. So when my stepmother entered my office to discuss her upcoming weddings, I was absolutely livid. I told her to get out of my office and go where the sun does not shine. I told her that people like her were not welcome in my business. How dare she just ask me to plan her wedding to my ex-boyfriend? Did she think that I was crazy, or did she think that I was pathetic? I told her there was no galaxy in this world where I would plan that wedding. She laughed and said that she needed her deposit back, and not only that, but she was going to take me to court for breach of contract. I asked what she meant by that, and that's when she took out the documents that proved that I agreed to take her as a client. So I called my assistant to confirm this, and I did not remember accepting this woman as a client. When my assistant showed me my signature on those papers, I lost it. I asked her how she could let this slip, and she told me that she has no idea that this woman was someone that I did not want to work with. I told her that I would deal with her later. Now that I was alone with my stepmother, I told her that we needed to cancel the contract. I could give her the deposit back as well. Well, she went ahead to just tell me that she did not want to cancel the contract. So, despite our past, I was one of the best in the city. So I had a style that she wanted at her wedding. She wanted to be a happy bride, and if it meant asking her ex's ex to plan it, then you know what, so be it. She hopes that I can be a mature adult and plan the wedding for her. Well, I told her to get out unless she was willing to sign the cancellation. She told me that she's tried to get me to do this the easy way. If she has to force me to plan the wedding, okay, she'll do that. She then left me to my own devices. I was shaking, quivering with anger even and frustration. Could she not let me move on with my life? I mean, did she really have to throw it in my face? She got him to propose to her within just moments, and I've been asking this man to marry me for 3 years, and he keeps on saying that the ring is coming. What sort of spell was she using? It had to be a money thing. That was the only reason that he would agree to be tied down. I never told him that I had a trust fund because I knew that he would squander my money. I could have warned him. Well, but I had no loyalty left to her. She was going to find out on her own what that man was, and he's trash. So once I calmed down and I spoke to my assistant, she did not have good news for me. She let me know that we had somehow spent the deposit on something else, and if we decided to pay my stepmother back, we would end up in debt. We were barely scraping by, as it appeared, and she told me that honestly, I needed this contract, and she said that even though I hated this woman, I had to do it for the money. That left me with a lot to think about, and I'm between a rock and a hard place right now. Do I take my chances and give her back her money, even if it puts my business at risk? Do I work with her and endure agony every second of the way? I'm sure that she's just doing this to throw it at my face, and she does not have any shame. If my father could see her right now, he would be so disappointed. I wish that I could go back in time and tell my dad not to marry her. When I found out he was getting married to her, I was supportive. It's been too long since my mom left him and just, felt like he deserved love. When I saw my stepmother, I decided not to judge a book by its cover. She looked like a gold digger, and I should have known she was one. So many things that I could have changed, and yet here I am. So, what do you think I should do? Do you think I should plan the wedding or not? This could be my chance to get revenge. I've never been one for revenge, but I know what it does to people. But I don't know. I've been severely humiliated, and everyone pities me because she stole my boyfriend. So imagine how they're going to react when they find out that she's getting married to him. What would you do if you guys were in my position? Let me know. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And oh boy, today's story is about to go nuclear. I do have a few updates, and I hope you guys are enjoying your day. If you're new to the channel, my name's Mr. Reddito, and I narrate stories every single day. So consider subscribing for daily videos, and guys, let's jump into update 1 out of 7. Update number 1. It's 2 weeks later. A couple of days ago, I was forced to go on with the wedding preparations. I had to do a consolation with both bride and the groom. It was my first time seeing my ex since I threw his stuff out. I managed to keep my cool, but barely. They were insufferable, and I wanted to tell them to get a room, but I couldn't. See, in my line of work, I always have to be professional. I have no choice but to take this contract unless I want to financially ruin myself. So I'm going to take the contract and give her a wedding that she's never going to forget. All that she's done for me is going to be my motivation for this wedding. She's going to wish that she never asked me to plan her wedding in the first place, and the best part is that she's never going to be able to get me punished for this in any way. I'm going to ruin her big day in such a way that she'll never forget it. She's going to cry, and, you best believe me when I say that when I see her with him, all of that work I've done comes undone. I'm haunted by the day I found them together, and I just want to kick them out of my office. Instead, I have to smile at them and ask them about color schemes. She's very smug and proud of herself for scoring a boy toy. She had dressed him up in fancy clothing, and it's a pity that no matter how much you dress rubbish, it still is garbage. She parades around him in town like a pet. It's sickening, and I've heard a lot of people actually find it repulsing. But she does not care because she's so in love with him. I don't blame her because I too was once a fool for this man. He also put me under the spell, and I felt like the only girl in the world. The day I found out it was not true, my whole world shattered. And he still finds a way to hurt me every single day. I'm dreading the next appointment, which was in a couple of days, and I'm dreading picking up a wedding dress for her. I'm dreading helping her pick up what kind of food she's going to have at her wedding. I want someone to wake me up and tell me that this is all just a terrible dream. But I know that no such thing is going to happen. So I'm just going to carry on running. It's a new hobby that I've taken up recently, and I'm often not able to sleep. So I usually run around the block a couple times until I'm too tired to carry on. Only then am I able to sleep, and yes, it helps to clear my mind, and for a while, I don't feel too terrible. It's the only therapy that I can actually afford. Update number 2. Hey, it's me, and I'm feeling so much better after today. Well, in fact, I've been laughing all day long. Every time that I have a spare minute, I think of what happened today, and I absolutely love it. My stepmom really thought that she had me good. Now she regrets having me plan her wedding, and the wedding is only, a couple weeks away, and she's panicking. But before I get into it, I want to respond to some comments. A user told me to stop pursuing revenge, because it was only going to hurt me in my business. Well, thank you for your concern. So, over the past few months, I've been rectifying my financial issues. And even if I had to give her back her money, I'll be fine. I also have someone willing to lend me some money till I'm A-okay. This is very important for me, and much more important than money. One of the comments is one that I cannot get out of my head, guys. The comment is from someone who has actually been through something similar. For her, it was her stepsister and her fiancé who betrayed her just days before the wedding. They ended up having a child together, and she was just forced to accept it by her family. I know why you're paying, which is why I'm thankful for your support. Hell yeah, I'm going to make them pay. In fact, I've already made my stepmom pay, and I'm sure that you're dying to find out how I did this exactly. As I was planning her wedding, I got an understanding of exactly what she wanted. So, yeah, well, I got to the opposite of what she wanted. She was so ignorant that she didn't even notice. She just went ahead to sign off on everything without even looking at it. She was also so blinded by her pride in making me plan the wedding, but the worst blow of all came in the venue that I got for her. She wanted to have her wedding in a very specific hall. A lot of wealthy people in the community have had their weddings there. It's definitely the most sought-after place, and there's a main hall, which is the most popular, and there's also a smaller hall. See, she wanted to have a bigger wedding, but I got her the smaller hall. At this point, I did not even care if she sued me. I just wanted her to lose her mind. This came sooner than later when she decided that she was going to do a viewing of her venue. See, my assistant went with her as I was busy on that day. She then called me hours later telling me that my stepmom lost it. She's been arguing with the manager. She was convinced that she had booked the big hall when in fact she booked the small hall. She then proceeded to have a mental breakdown. She tried to convince the manager to change the booking, but the day was already double booked. She then came home, storming into my office just as I was about to leave. She told me that I was crazy and jealous, and she said that she deserved to move on with her life. Just because my father was dead, it did not mean that she could not find love. I said that I totally agreed with her. But what was her point? She's the one who approved of the small hall. It wasn't my fault. She told me that I should have warned her and made her double check. Well, I told her that she was a grown woman and she could do that on her own. I needed to leave for the day, so I told her to make an appointment and speak to me the next day. She refused and decided to even threaten me. Well, I told her that my assistant was recording all of this, and unless she wanted to spend the night in jail, she better leave. Well, when she left, she bombarded my phone with many text messages. She called me names and incompetent, and she told me that she was going to tell everyone in the city not to use my services. I told her to try her best, but my work spoke for itself. Besides, in the contract, it says that she had the final say when it came to everything. How was it my fault that she did not double-check? I've been laughing at her reaction for the whole day, guys, and satisfaction from knowing that her perfect days are going to be not so perfect after all is like no other. Besides, what did she expect? Did she think I was gonna plan a fairy tale wedding for her? Come on, that's just being stupid. Well, I'll update you guys. Update number 3. I'm officially no longer my stepmother's wedding planner. Well, thank goodness, because I was getting so tired of dealing with her. In addition to that, I'm not invited to the wedding. It's not like I was planning on going anywho. She did get most of her money back though, but I'll be fine. For my actions, there were many consequences, and some people got wind of the rumors that I sabotaged her wedding. The only thing that I could say was that there was a great misunderstanding between her and me. Some clients have been skeptical about continuing their services with me. Now that I've calmed down, I'm starting to realize how serious the situation is. However, we move, and I did what I had to do to avenge myself. Now we're even, and I don't have to deal with her anymore. Now it's time for me to implement some strategies that will help me to mitigate the cost. I do like a bit of problem solving, so don't worry about me. It was all worth it to see her lose her mind. Guys, she's never gonna get that perfect wedding at this rate, and it's just too short of a notice for her dream wedding planner. And the fact that I'm banned is just the cherry on top. Well, I have to go. Apparently, there's a woman who's harassing my assistant, and she does not have an appointment and is demanding to see me. Let me find out what she wants. If it's my stepmom again, I swear I'm calling the cops. Update. I should definitely invest in pepper spray. It appears that I'm not safe in the city. I'm the most wanted person, and there's a bounty on my head even. Well, I'm joking. Let me explain, though. Last week, when there was this crazy woman who wanted to talk to me in my office, I went and checked who it was, and to my surprise, it was the last person I wanted to see. The mother of my gaslighting, cheating, lying, stealing idiot ex. If you think that he's a psycho, well, she's worse. She's the boss level of psycho, and this woman helped her son to gaslight and to make me feel worthless. She was also a coddling mother and never allowed him to take responsibility for his actions. And now she was in my office because she had a bone to pick with me. She tried to attack me without using her words, and guys, it was extremely funny and unsuccessful. Firstly, I'm much fitter than her. Those running sessions have done wonders for my strength, and I told her that I was either going to call the police or make an example of her and just send her to her son, bruised. I think then I asked her what she wanted. She then told me to stay away from her son because my obsession was pathetic, and I told her I didn't want her cheating son. She told me that if I've been a good girlfriend, he would not have needed to cheat. Besides, at least he was marrying somebody who could take care of him, and I told her that if she did not have anything else to say, then she should leave. Well, she claimed that she knew some very dangerous people and that they would make mincemeat of me. I didn't take her serious because she was just a clown like her son. So I asked her what she knew about her daughter-in-law, and she said the woman was rich. I mean, what else does she need to know? I laughed at her stupidity, and I asked her what made her think that my stepmother was going to allow her to dip her toes into the funds. I've known this woman for years. She would not allow such a thing. I even then proceeded to tell her that she was slowly going to start losing her son. My stepmother would be the only woman who had power over him. He was going to stop visiting her and supporting her, and she told me that I was lying and I was just jealous. And then I asked her if she was not jealous. This woman was going to spend most of her time with her son, and she was already changing his sense of dressing, and what else was she going to change? And then asked how she felt about the fact that they were actually going to move to another state. I must admit that this was a lie. No one told me such a thing, and when I told her this, I noticed that the wheels in her head were just starting to turn like a hamster wheel. After years of knowing her, I knew exactly how to rile her up. You know what? She might have been crazy, right? But she loved her son. She thought that I was going to take him away, and she hated me. Imagine how she was going to react when she found out that this woman planned to take her son further away from her than I did. I then added fuel to the fire by saying that I've seen the number of an old age home in my stepmother's diary when I, was helping her plan the wedding. My stepmom's in her 40s, and she has no reason to be going to an old age home, but Badger's main mom is 60. She had him when she was really old and convinced that she would never have children. So yes, I admit that I was gaslighting her. It was only fair after her son had been playing with my mind for years. I must say that I've learned many tricks, one of which is to use the opponent's fear to get whatever you want from them. For I was not done with my stepmother. She cost me too much business in the first place, and so then my crazy, nearly mother-in-law left. The look in her eyes revealed to me that she was cooking something up. I could not wait to see what she had in store for him. Updates. Guess who just called me to ask me for my help? Yep, my nearly ex-mother-in-law, you guessed it. She wants me to help her with dirt on my stepmom. She absolutely hates the woman, and she claims that my stepmom tried to bribe her with money and gifts. But she sees right through her act. She apparently had dinner with my stepmom a couple of days before the wedding, and during dinner she observed my stepmother and decided that she did not like her. She also found out that my stepmom has no plans of having kids or adopting them, and that was the final straw. Can you believe that she said she wished her son had not broken up with me? At least I was more agreeable and actually wanted to have kids with her boy. What she meant was that I was docile. I went along with everything that she and her son wanted, and I knew that if I did not, then they would, going to make my life a living hell. I did not let her false compliments get to me. I just told her what she needed to hear about my mom. It was just regular dirt about her, how she messed over most of her friends, and how I suspected she was cheating on Dad when he was alive. That was why I was hell-bent on making sure that her wedding day was ruined. Now, I can't wait to see what happens next. Update. Breaking news. The wedding did not go on. I've just watched a video where my stepmom and Jeremy's mom were fighting. This ended in a fight and the police being called, and they're currently being held for questioning. What I do know is that my stepmom called off the wedding to Jeremy. It's kind of hard to marry somebody whose mom tried to burn your hair. Well, that's right, Jeremy's mom and stepmom have not been getting along. They've apparently been butting heads for several days now, and she even tried to get Jeremy's mom uninvited from the wedding, but failed. Jeremy's mom did not take kindly to this, and she snuck into the suite where my stepmom was getting her hair done and makeup done, and that's when she tried to burn my stepmom's hair. She disguised herself as the hairdresser, and then she used synthetic hair extensions right there on my stepmother's hair, and then used a hair straightener. Apparently, my stepmother realized that something was wrong because there was smoke and crackling, and she then tussled with Jeremy's mom. The fight ended up in the corridors. My stepmom then decided that enough was enough, and Jeremy had to make a decision, so she went and barged into his room. One of the bridesmaids made sure to catch all this on camera. She confronted Jeremy, who defended his mom. She would not hear anything about it, so then she decided to dump him. She continued to go back and forth with his mom until the fight turned physical. Well, guests were absolutely puzzled, and when an hour after the starting time no one showed up, no one ever showed up to the wedding because it was over. Called off. Well, what can I say? The Lord works in mysterious ways and wonderful ways that were much deserved. Jimmy's mom is crazy. She actually wanted to burn my stepmom's hair, and I wish that she had actually managed to do it, to be honest. I'm so tempted to go to the station right now just to see how she looks, and I'm sure she's livid right now. I guess I'll just take a back seat and enjoy the drama. Final update. Hey guys, I'm back. It's been some months since I last wrote, but guess who got her inheritance from her greedy stepmother? No, I did not get married, but I turned 30, which is the other clause in my father's will. I've been counting on this to finally get me my inheritance, and it'll definitely help with my finances, but I'm not going to bore you with that. I need to tell you some other stuff. My stepmother was more than embarrassed after she got, not married. She had a huge mental breakdown, and she was not the same after that, and she hardly left the house. I also heard that she has a fear of hairdressers now, and every time that I've seen her, it's quite obvious that she has done her own hair. It looks rather tragic. So my ex tried to get back with me. He claims that he was ready to change and be the man I needed. I waited for him to be the man I needed for 3 long years, and did he really think that I was this stupid? I kicked him to the curb and refused to allow him to stay with me. He couch surfed for a while, and the last I knew he was cohabiting with some druggies. When I asked him why his mother did not take him in, he told me that her new boyfriend did not allow it. Oh, the irony and how it's lost upon me. She had the nerve to interfere in his love life, but did not allow him to be anywhere near hers. Smart woman, otherwise she would die single. So she basically came to break off his engagement and make him lose out on spending my stepmom's money. It's more than thrills me that none of these 3 got what they wanted. So my stepmom did not get married, and, well, he and his mom did not get the money, and I got to walk away unscathed without even doing much.